继续 PGA 职业教练指导网友挥杆。今天的视频会有教练的亲自示范。我们先放教练的讲解和示范，然后我会稍微补充一下。如果只想听老衲讲的话，可以直接拉到差不多3分钟后。
So first things first with the driver, we got to work on setup. So way too far away from the golf ball, shoulders are a little open. So we want to scoot in a little bit, okay? And we want to get those shoulders squared up. So when we're looking at down the line view right here, we don't want to see that left forearm underneath that right forearm. We want to be able to see a little bit of the left forearm above the right forearm. We want to see a little bit of the left shoulder from this angle. We want to get everything nice straight lines. As far as distance from the ball, I kind of like to use, there's a couple things. I could use like a hand width. So if I took my fingers, put them together, I should be able to move them fairly easily between the butt end of the club and my left thigh. I don't want to have tons of hand width, and obviously I don't want to have like nothing where I can't fit it between it all. But about a hand width, and or if I took my right hand off and I let my hand kind of chill out and relax, I could bring it right back in and grip this thing. So if I'm too far away, my hand's gonna hang way in here and I gotta go out, or vice versa. If I'm too close, I'm out, then I gotta pull it in. That's gonna make you stand up a little bit taller, so we don't need a ton of knee bend, right? But we wanna be a little taller, a little closer to the ball, and have everything squared up. So that's setup alone right there. We gotta get those lines really nice. Second thing, when we go back, lots of hand and arm, wrist, if you want to call it, like motion taking it back. So you're really flat early on in that swing, and then that's always going to usually make that club steep and coming down. So we want to get our pivot to move everything away. So I want my body, my hips turning, my chest turning. That's what I want to make everything go away. Now, I do need my arms to stay connected or in front of my chest, but I need my wrists to be able to set the club. So you have a lot of roll as you go back. So that gets, like I was saying, the club really flat early. So then, and then minimal hip turn. And so that means in transition, when we start to get everything moving, then we're gonna usually end up pulling on that thing and getting it to steepen on the way down. And then coming in, we're either gonna make some adjustments to try to hit it, or we're gonna, swing left hard and see big slices. And if we close the face, it goes hard left. So we want to get our body turning to get the arms and the hands and the club transported to the top. And then while we're doing that, we'd rather have the hinge get the club more vertical, so that way in transition, it can kind of shallow out. So really good drill to get the feel of that turn and everything would be like wall drills, right? So I could find a wall at home. I get my butt to touch the wall. So I'd get set up. You could be set up and then kind of move yourself back into the wall. But I just want to get my butt to touch a wall at home. I don't need a golf club. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my right butt cheek, feel like there's a marker in here, and I'm going to get it to slide down the wall, moving towards my imaginary target. So I'm gonna feel like I'm drawing a line on the wall going that way. And then as I do that, I'm gonna turn my chest and I'm gonna get my arms, my chest to transport my arms. And I'm gonna feel like my right knuckles and maybe the outside of my forearm, not the elbow, but the outside of the forearm is going to maybe touch that wall. So the knuckles of the right hand, the outside of the forearm of the right arm is gonna get there and touch. You don't necessarily need to get all the way to the wall. It's a little exaggeration, but it's just a good thing to give you some feedback on, not just my arms and hands moving back there, but my hips turning, my chest turning, and gives me a place to kind of put my arms and everything to get back there. So we wanna really work on that motion, the pivot of my body, getting my hands and arms around, versus just my arms and hands getting them back there. And then, I know it's a lot, but last but not least, as you turn, hinging that club much more vertical. So kind of a key would be like you could take a tee and stick it in like the butt end of your club. And so now that you've worked on your pivot, But when you get to left arm parallel, I'd want to see that tee sticking more, in between my toes and the ball, or maybe more right at the golf ball. So now when you add your pivot, we're going to get those wrists to hinge that club a little bit more vertical. So then when you reach back for that wall and then you start to transition, the club would actually start to work the other direction coming down. Almost going to feel like kind of a figure eight versus rolling it and then it's steepening on the way down.
教练主要说了2个方面，第一个是准备姿势 set up， 有2点需要注意。一个是肩膀打开的太多了，太 open 了，右肩膀太向前了。理想的准备姿势，肩膀应该是跟击球方向平行的，也叫方正的 square。从我们侧面的镜头看过来，应该是稍微看到一点左肩膀在右肩膀的前面，然后左小臂在右小臂的前面。我们看德尚布、科普卡这2个是我印象比较深的，左小臂明显在右小臂前面的。这里需要注意镜头的位置，镜头应该是差不多正对着脚尖儿和球中间的位置。所以如果肩膀是方正的，镜头里面看的就是左肩和左小臂都稍微出来一点。但是如果你的镜头偏后了，比方说在这个位置，那即便你的肩膀是方正的，镜头还是会看到右肩膀在前。如果镜头偏前了，比方说在这个位置，那即使你稍微关闭一点肩膀，看起来你还是方正的。我们看小麦同样的准备姿势，不同的镜头位置，看起来效果就不一样。所以一定要摆放好镜头位置，正对着脚尖和球的中间点，然后应该看到左肩膀和左小臂在前。另一点就是手离身体的位置太远了，尤其是1号木，准备的时候应该是2个胳膊自然下垂，然后正常握住球杆。离身体太远或者太近的话，手都不是自然下垂的位置。教练教了一个检查的方法，就是握好杆之后，杆屁股和身体的距离差不多刚好能让右手顺利通过，这个距离就是刚好的。这个当然也不是绝对的，我们随便就可以找到2个反例。 Zach Johnson 2次大满贯冠军，他的手离身体就比较远。 Keegan Bradley 1次大满贯冠军，今年莱德杯美国队队长，就离得比较近。甚至还有 Jim Furyk 也是大满贯冠军和莱德杯队长，手都快贴到膝盖了。所以这一点上大家可以根据自己的情况来调整。第2个方面跟之前的一期很像，就是上杆的时候手自己的动作太多，没有靠身体的转动来带动，而且杆身太水平，没有垂直方向的立腕。教练说了2个练习方法，一个是一种 wall drill 墙壁练习，不需要球杆，屁股顶着墙，上杆的时候感觉自己的右屁股向着击球方向有一点平移，这样才有胯的转动。同时胳膊在上半身躯干转动的带动下向上立腕，感觉自己右小臂的外侧碰到墙壁，不需要一定真的碰到墙壁，但是需要朝着墙壁的方向移动，这样挥杆平面才比较好，不会太水平了。另一个练习就跟那一期的是非常类似的，那一期我说的是手里拿着一根瞄准杆，这里教练说的是把一个 T 插在杆屁股上，上杆到 P3， 左臂跟地面平行的时候，这个 T 刚好指在脚和球的中间，而不是像网友一样指到球前面很远的地方。好，这几个都是非常简单，不需要去球场就能反复做的练习，希望对你有所帮助。欢迎大家继续投稿，点赞关注老衲高尔夫频道，下期网友挥杆视频我们再见。